Hey everyone, I wanted to go over a few problems with you and I wanted to take a different approach. So instead of me solving it and doing it step by step, I want you to know more about the thought process that I use in order to solve these. First and foremost, you really should have this piece of paper out. It's on modules. Go to the very bottom, should be a module titled Handouts. I suggest printing it out and having it right next to you. That way you know exactly what the rules are, and if you look at a proof and you're just completely lost as to what to do, honestly, step by step, go through every single one of these and ask yourself, what can I do? And that's for every single premise. If you're really lost, then just start at the beginning, okay? And absolutely print this out, have it next to you. On the exam, I'm going to expect you to use these rules 100% the way they are here. Okay, so let's go up to the top here. I just picked out a few problems. Okay, so if you want to pause the video, you give it a try, and then come back and see what I did and see if we have the same thought process. Obviously, we don't need to have the exact same thought process, but just so you know what I'm thinking. Okay, first and foremost, as most of you know, I go right for the conclusion. And if there's a negation on the outside, then I am going to do De Morgan over on the side. Remember, with De Morgan, everything changes. Y becomes not Y. Dot becomes wedge. B becomes not B. Okay? So I know if I get this on any line, I can easily turn it into the conclusion. And that's why I do that over there on the side, just to remind me. Okay. Now, my brain is looking at this and it is just screaming, we gotta do exportation. Because once we do exportation, then we can see it a different way. Now remember, everything stays in the same order. The only difference is the first dot becomes a horseshoe and the parentheses change location. Okay, so once I do that, then I'm going to notice modus ponens. Okay, so then I know I get this on a line by itself. And now I'm taking note here, and I'm noticing this and this are really similar. Now, whenever you have a situation where you have a horseshoe and you need it to become a wedge, implication becomes your best friend. So the antecedent always gets a negation on it. Horseshoe becomes a wedge. The consequent always remains the same. Okay? So add a negation, change to a wedge, absolutely the same. And now if we look at this, we are really close. So all we need to do is COM. So remember we did implication here. We're doing COM here. And we already know all we have to do is De Morgan and we'll have it. And we're good. Okay, once again, pause it, give it a try, and then come back. Okay, same thing. I like to start at the conclusion. So I'm going to look at this and I'm going to ask myself, what can I do? Well, first and foremost, you cannot do De Morgan with a horseshoe. I got to get rid of that horseshoe. So the only way to get rid of that horseshoe is through implication. Now that it's a wedge, I can do De Morgan. So we'll do not R, because we're going to follow the rules, change the sign, and then we'll have not S. So we just did De Morgan, and we can clean that up with the double negative rule. Now that we've done all this on the side, it's really obvious what we're going to do over here. We're just going to rebuild it. We're going to go backwards. So we're going to have R dot S, conjunct those, and then we're going to put a double negation onto R, because that's exactly what we need. Then we'll do De Morgan. Then we'll do implication. Okay, once again, pause, go work it out. Okay, so this one's a little different because if you look at the conclusion, there's a Z. Okay, cool, got a Z, not a problem. And there's a K. Well, we don't have a K. So right there, we know we want to get Z on a line by itself. And then once we have that Z, we can add the K. So we're going to have to go over here and take a look at this premise. Well, we have a negation on the outside, and on the inside we have a horseshoe. Well, implication. It's the only way to get rid of it. Okay, so again, that one changes. Horseshoe becomes a wedge, and the not O stays exactly the same. Okay, now we're going to have to do a little, wait, make sure you know that's implication. Now we need to do De Morgan. So we're going to have not Z, change the sign. We're going to have not O. And then we're going to clean it up. And now we have Z dot O. So we're going to simplify. And now that we have our Z by itself, we're just going to add. And we got there. Okay, let's take a look at another one. So we have not S dot T. Okay, well, we know with a dot, if I get an S on a line by itself, and I get a T on a line by itself, then I know I can conjunct them. So we'll just leave that over there as a little thought bubble, or square. And then we'll come over here. Okay, so we have a line where the main operator is a dot. And the only time simplification ever works is when the main operator is a dot. So if I have something, oh wait, I did that wrong. My bad. If I have something like this, the main operator in this case is the horseshoe. So I cannot simplify that equation. I have to have the x dot y on a line by itself. Then the dot is the main operator. Then I can simplify. Now a lot of you are making that mistake, so please take note of that. Okay, so I have a line, premise 2, where the dot is the main operator. So I automatically know I can get T by itself and I can get D by itself. So I would get T by simplification, and I would get D by comm and simplification. Okay, so now I got to ask myself here, how am I going to get over here? Because I need that not S over here. So let's take a look. So we have not R, horseshoe, T. So let's just do implication in our head. So we'd end up with not R or T. Okay, so I have a T down here. That might work, but let's look at this real fast and let's see what's going to happen. So we're going to end up with not S or not D. Okay, so if we get that on a line by itself. So that's a wedge. So whenever you have a wedge, you know there's only one way that you can break it apart. You need to have the opposite of one side. And in this case, we actually want the not S, so we really need the opposite of not D. And there it is. Okay, so I'm just showing you the way I look at these in my thought process. So now I'm going to come back over here because now I know that's exactly what I need right here. Okay, so let's clean this up a little bit. Okay, so I know I need not R or T. I can get a T on a line by itself. I'm going to add not R. So that's just addition. Okay, then I'm going to comm it because I need it in this order. Now I'm actually going to go ahead and do implication. So that means one negation will be dropped and then changed. Perfect. And then once you have this, you can use modus ponens, and you'll end up with, on a line by itself, then you're going to do De Morgan. And then you're going to take this D over here that you simplified from up there, and you're going to double negate it. And then you're going to flip that one. And then this is exactly what we wanted, because it's in the order that it's on that sheet of paper I told you to go get. And then these cancel each other out with DS, and you get not S. And then we're going to easily just take the T up here and the not S and conjunct. Okay? Once you go ahead, work this one out on your own, and I'll put the answer up on Canvas for you. Okay, now I want you guys to be really clear on what I'm asking you to do on those single steps for the exam. I want you to follow these rules to the letter, 100%. No two things in one line, okay? So just be aware of that. Otherwise, I hope this helps. And if it does, let me know so I can make more in the future, because we're not done with proofs. We got many weeks to go with more proofs. Okay, good luck on the exam.